today's work. So, in order to graph a linear function, you have been given, in grade 10, 2 new ways. In grade 9, you just use the table of values every time, most likely. In grade 10, I've given you 2 new ways to do that. One was x and y intercepts. And those were x0 and 0y. And how did those work? You subbed those values into the equation, EQN. Then I showed you a second way to do it, and that was slope intercept, which was y equals mx plus b. B was the starting point, as the y-intercept. Then we counted our slope. Rise, run, for graphing. So, I showed you 2 ways you could graph easily without doing a whole table of values. Today you're going to learn a third way. This way is very useful because it takes both of these previous ways into account. Now, I'm going to write out what this form is. Point slope form. Now, some people call this slope point form, so it's in the same order as slope intercept. I don't really care what you call it. It's just what we call it. And this is what it looks like. Now, is there anything in that format that we haven't already seen this year? No. We've seen m, we know what that is. And we've seen equations that use 2 values of x's and y's. Yes? All right. Now, before we go any further, tell me some of the things that symbol means. This is not a trick question. The symbol that is highlighted right there. The screen went blue? Has it always been blue? Oh, good. What are some of the things that, come on, arrow. Well, there we go. That symbol mean? Still blue. Son of a. It's a Christmas miracle. That symbol. Quick, before it goes blue again. It means subtract. What else does it mean? Negative. What else does it mean? Difference. Excellent. What else? Minus. Excellent. Left or down. Whoo, doggy. Nobody got that in the last class. Let me give you this example, just because you haven't hit the one I was going for. What does that symbol mean in front of that? Negative? But this guy's already negative. But you're on the right track. What do you do with that symbol if it's in front of brackets like that? Jake? It reverses the symbols. But it's not reverse, right? Opposite. It also means opposite. Everybody cool with all those meanings? Okay, so knowing what you know about all those meanings and this being just what it looks like without any numbers in it, I'm going to write out an equation in this form. I'm going to ask you if you can figure out how to graph it. Now, some of you may have already seen this form before, so do me a favor and let everybody else figure out how to graph it. Y plus 4 equals 2/3 x minus 2. Now, you all know if I gave you this, and don't write this down, y equals 3 over 2 x plus 7. You could all graph that just by looking at it. You'd go to 7 on the y-axis, you'd count up 3, write 2, and you'd put a dot and you'd connect them, right? Because this gives you a starting point, and the starting point is the y-intercept, correct? Now, looking at this, because this looks kind of similar, doesn't it? Right? M multiplying by x's, it looks pretty similar, yeah? So, where, since I haven't taught you, where do you think is there a starting point from that line? Or that equation? Where could you go on the graph to start your line? Somebody guess, Jacob. So you would go to 4 on the y-axis and -2 on the x-axis. Does everybody agree that that's a pretty decent guess? It's a good place to try, yeah? All right, so this is an x value, correct? This is a y value, correct? What do I see right there? Y. What would I write there? 4. 4 plus 4 equals 2/3. What would I write for x? -2 minus 2. Does everyone agree? Okay, what's 4 plus 4? 8. What's -2 minus 2? -4. What's -4 times 2/3? I'll just write it over here because it's easy to see if you actually see it. Oops, sorry, that was positive 2/3. What is that? He waited patiently for his grade 10s to multiply a whole number into fraction. -8 over 3. Excellently done. Now, the question remains. We are doing an experiment, yes? Because we guessed that those were our points. Agreed? Did the experiment turn out successfully? Does 8 equal -8/3? No, of course not. So that's no good. Everybody with me? Okay. Now, I call your attention back to all the possible meanings of that symbol. What was the last meaning that Jacob gave us? Opposite. So now, remembering what opposite means, remembering that -2 and +4 didn't work, give me another set of numbers that we could try. -4 and +2. Let's check. What goes there? -4 plus 4 equals 2/3. What goes there? 2 minus 2. What's -4 plus 4? 0. What's 2 minus 2? Times 2/3? 0. Does 0 equal 0? So, what have you just learned through your own experimentation? Does this give me a starting point? What is it? It's the opposite of what you see. Your starting point, but opposite. Oops, I forgot to cross the T. Opposile. Does everybody understand? You just proved that it works. If it works once in math, how often does it work? Always, at our level, right? Okay, prove it. Tell me how to graph that line just by looking at it. What will your starting point be? Look closer. 1 and -2, because x's go first, right? Now, once I put that dot on a graph, how will I make it a line? I will use the slope. So where will I go from that dot with that slope? I would go up 2 and left 3. Or down 2 and right 3. As long as one of them is a negative direction, I'm going to get the right slope. Everybody understand? Great. Write this for the second one. You write it. I know it's blue, but you don't need to see it right now. You're writing it. Who would like to tell me their start and their arrows? Still blue. Solid. Good, solid technology. Still solid. While we wait, what's your starting point, Karen? -3, 4. Excellently done. And then what will you do to graph it? Up 1, left 4, or down 1, right 4. Everyone agree? Yeah? Good. That's absolutely correct. And we are going to screw this thing in about 2 seconds and go to what will work. Let us do so now. So, oh, yeah, I hurt its feelings. -3, 4, and I will go down 1, right 4, or sorry, down, oh yeah, that was right. Down 1, right 4, or up 1, left 4. Excellent. What's different in number 3? But there is a slope, isn't there? Because the slope is the m, right? And what does that m do right there? Multiplies, right? So if I put brackets there, what would be the number right in front? 1. So what's the slope? 1. So what's my starting point? -2, -1, and then how do I draw it? Up 1, right 1. Or down 1, left 1. Or up 7, right 7. Or up 312, right 312. Right? Okay. What's different in 4? There's no y value. What number could I add or subtract from y that won't change it? If I subtract y from y, I get 0. 0. So isn't this side really y plus 0? So what's my starting point? -4, 0, and what's my slope? How am I going to solve it? Up 1 and right 2. Or down 1 and left 2. Woo! Yous guys. Making me so happy. What about this one? Do I have a starting point? What is it? -5, -3. What's my slope? -1. So what do I do? Down 1, right 1, or up 1, left 1. And there's a nice easy one to finish up that requires no thought because you can do it as soon as you look at it. What is it? 110 and up 4, right 5, or down 4, left 5. Is everybody good? Yeah? Okay, now, before we go on, I want to remind you of something. In the form that we have, we're using x's and y's, correct? Right? And x's and y's go on this graph, yeah? But we've done graphs that aren't x's and y's, haven't we? Haven't we? Haven't we done time and distance? Haven't we done time and cost? Right? Haven't we done distance and speed? So, does x and y have to be x and y? No. They could be IV, dv, depending on what we're counting. Does everyone understand? In math class, they're x and y, because that's how we do a graph, correct? But in reality, if we're putting real data on a graph, it's not x and y, is it? It's whatever your independent and dependent variables are. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? So you can use this method if you're dealing with real life graphs. You just make the x value whatever your independent variable is. And you make the y value whatever your dependent variable is. Cool? Okay. Turn the page over and let's actually do some of this. Should be super easy to graph, right? Should take about 2 seconds. Where do I go to start? My starting point. -1, 2. -1, 2. Then what? Up 1, 2, right 1, 2, 3. And, because you should have 3 points to make sure it's a straight line, you can go down 2, left 3, or, of course, you could continue on from here, couldn't you? And it makes a nice, even line. Super easy, right? What's 8?
I found one yesterday, and then I think I left it on the desk.
Okay. What's 8? -5, -1. And? Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1, or up 2, left 1, and it makes our nice straight line. Can everybody do it? Super easy, right? And it works with any point. As long as you see it written that way, you're in business. Yeah? Now, just to show you something else, you don't need to write this down. We already know this one, right? Yeah? Right? And we know that that b is actually a y value, isn't it? Because it's the y-intercept. Everybody agree? So isn't this the same as saying y equals mx plus another y value? But I can't name that guy y, can I? Because this guy's already y. So what did we do with our slope when we had 2 y's? We gave one a little number, yeah? So now, if I move that over there, what's going to happen to him? He's positive right now. What's he going to become? Negative. So I'd have y minus y1, yeah? Equals m times x. Now, what's the x value for this y-intercept? It's 0, right? So this would be x plus 0, yeah? And that is point-slope form of slope-intercept form. Does everybody see how they're related? They both have y's, they both have x, they both have m's. Just this one, if I put an x there and I asked you, what is the y-intercept? Well, you know y-intercepts are 0, y. You could put that in for that x. Everyone cool? Excellent. All right, let's look at 9. Whoa, slow down there. What are some key words in that question that could give you hints as to how to do this question? Perpendicular is the first one. What do we know about perpendicular lines? Opposite reciprocals, right? So, if line 1 has a slope, then line 2 is opposite reciprocal slope. Everyone agree? That's from yesterday, right? So that's the first. It's not supposed to be scribbled out. It's supposed to be highlighted. Son of a. Okay. Is there any other words in that question that would help us solve it? They cross at the y-axis. Well, if they cross at the y-axis, wherever they cross, what does that mean about that point? It's 1 point on both lines. So both lines share what? Share the same y-intercept, correct? So line 1 and line 2 share a y-intercept because they cross on the y-axis. Excellent. Now, is there anything else here that will help us decide what one of these lines looks like? The equation. Doesn't that tell us how to graph the line? But not like that, does it? What can I do to that so I can graph it right away without being a grade 9 table of values person? Pardon me? Yeah. I would add y to both sides, right? Because what would that do? 2x minus y plus 8 equals 0. If I add y to both sides, what do I get? What happens to this y? It's gone. 2x plus 8 equals, what's 0 plus y? Y. Isn't that something that we're pretty comfortable with? What is it? Is it point slope or slope intercept? Slope intercept. So can I graph that? How? Where do I start? X0 and? No. No. 0, 8. Because that's the y-intercept, yes? I put the y over here, but it's still the same, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can I graph that line now? Because that's not a line right now, it's just a point. How do I graph it? With the slope. What's the slope? 2 over 1. So graph it. Where do I go from there? If I go up 2, what happens? I'm off the graph. Should I go off the graph? No. Go for Myers. She's not here. Okay. So I can't go up, so what's my other option? Down 2, left 1. Agreed? Down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1. And that'll go on forever. That's line 1, yeah? What do I know about line 2? It's got an opposite and reciprocal slope, and it shares a y-intercept, yes? So line 2 must also have that point, yeah? Right? Well, what is the opposite reciprocal slope of positive 2? An m that equals negative 1/2. Well, if there's a starting point, what do I do? Left 1, down 2. Is that correct? Other way around. Down 1, because it's rise over run. Down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. And there's my line. Now, I have a y-intercept, I have a slope. So what is the equation of the other line? Y equals negative 2x. We've already got the one with 2. negative 1/2 x plus 8, because they shared a y-intercept. Now, there's line 2. Now, some of you should be saying to yourselves, or to me, why did we spend the whole bit of this first bit of this class doing point-slope form and then come back to slope-intercept form? Why would I do that? Because they're the same stuff, right? Every equation I give you this unit is made up of what? Y's and x's. Where do I find the y's and x's? On the graph. Could I put that point, which is 10, 3 into this equation? Could I? Is that an x? Is that a y? So what would I do? What would I write right there? 3. Negative 1/2. What would I write right there? 10 plus 8. What's half of 8? Or half of 10? Negative 5. What's negative 5 plus 8? What is it? Positive 3. Does 3 equal 3? Yes. So I can take all of these x's and y's and put them anywhere I see an x and y. What if it wasn't equal? Could I put that x and y into this equation? Could I put it in? Does that have an x and a y value? Yes. Could I put it in here? Would it work? No, because it's not on that line. Everybody understand? Could I put this into this equation? I could. Would it work? This is the red equation. This is line 2. So could I put this point into here? I could, but it won't work. Could I put this point into here? I could, and it would work. Does everybody understand? And those x's and y's come right off the graph. Everybody cool? So if I told you 12, 7, if I asked you if that point was on the red line, how would you know? You would check the equation. You would put 12 in for x, 7 in for y. And if it didn't work, it's not on the line. If it did work, it is on the line. Everybody got it? Okay. Now, that's it. Because that's how easy point-slope form is. It's what you already know how to do, except instead of going to the y-intercept, you go to any other point and then count. Here are your options right now. We are in class until 1:05. The quiz I have to give you is 11 multiple choice questions and draw 2 lines. I feel you need 15 minutes for that. Right? Class is at 1:04, ends at 1:04, which means you need to start that around 12:47. I got 12:10 right now. Huh? Does it end at 1:01? Well, then I got to start you at 12:44. That's 35 minutes, 34 minutes from now. That should be enough time for those of you who have not finished page 204 and 205 to finish it. If you have already finished it, you should be working on 208 and so on. All right? Everybody good? Now, at 12:37, in 27 minutes from now, I'm going to put up the right answers to 204, 205. I've already got them done. You're going to look at it, and I'm going to explain them. Everybody good? Go. All that stuff about scale. All that stuff about how as long as you label them, it works. No matter how you label it, as long as you label them right, you're going to get the right answer. And finally, 4. These are all out of 2. Since it is parallel, I only care about the slope. I can't get the slope from there unless I go to slope-intercept form to get that slope. Parallel means it's got the same slope, so every line with that slope is parallel to that line. 2 marks. Jacob. But when you bring that 3 over to isolate it, it becomes positive. And then perpendicular, same thing. You find the slope, but because it's perpendicular, you opposite and reciprocate. So when you found the slope, you found it to be -7/2, but you don't want that slope. You want the perpendicular slope, which means you change the sign and you reciprocate to get to +2/7, making the whole first page out of 12. Any questions? Now you turn over to the second page. Yesterday, you had to do this question by graphing. But today, I gave you point slope form, didn't I? So it was easier, right? Either way, these are the 2 points most of you are going to have. Either -8, 0 or -2, -4. Because that's how you got there by counting, right? Of course, you could have, if you were, wanted to be kind of a wise ass, you could have had -9, 4. If you wanted to go up and over 4/6, which would be the exact same thing. But I'm betting almost all of you have one of these 2 points, if you did the question at all. If you have something other than that, you should ask, because you don't know what you're doing. Is everybody cool? Okay. And lastly, when you sketch it out, you see that this is the only angle worth checking, because these 2 can't possibly be 90. So you check the slope of CB, which was -3/4. You check the slope of BA, which was -3/4, and then -3/2. Even though one was positive and one was negative, they weren't reciprocals, so it's not a right angle triangle. Okay? Now, listen to me. A bunch of kids in the other class checked this only and said that wasn't 90 degrees, so it can't be a right angle triangle. That's a mistake, because this one still could have been. Some of them checked this side and said, it's not 90, so it can't be that one. Right? Now, if this was 90, and you checked that and that or that, and found them to not be 90, you would say it's not a right angle triangle, right? And then you would be wrong. Does everybody understand what happened there? You have to check the angle that matters. If there's 2 that look 90, which wouldn't happen if you've sketched it right, then you've got to check 2. Everybody cool? Now, let me add this little reminder here. Is 3/4 perpendicular to -16/12? Yes or no? Go for Myers. Of course not. That is a silly question. Yeah, that was a really silly question. Is this perpendicular? Yes, of course it is. Why? Because, yeah. Because this is 12/16, or this is -4/3, right? Just because the numbers aren't the same doesn't mean it's not perpendicular. Everybody cool? All right. Unless you have a question, it is quiz time. Cool in the gang. Clear your desks. No, you don't need to put any marks on the quiz because we're going to mark the quiz tomorrow in class. It is 11 multiple choice questions and 2 graph lines. With a very fun font, if I do say so myself. Of course it's Chris now.
Still one more. Actually, I don't mind. I remember beer.
Nate with the passing of the quizzes.
I
read my basic
I went home. Yeah, I was like,
Oh, this side of the room won today. Oh, no. Slowed down. They were ahead. Due to it being the last week of school, I did not need 60 copies of this quiz because, of course, half of you didn't show up to class today. You guys aren't too bad. My other classes have been fairly empty today. When you're done, bring it up, put it on here. The other class is one, but please put it vertically so they are perpendicular to each other.
That was terrible.
No, it wasn't. It was awesome.